A new year has arrived. If you happen to look around social media and are interested in both art and tech, you might have noticed a little change in the air. More and more people are going analog. Compact cameras are making a comeback, handheld consoles, MP3 players, because we are all a bit tired and overwhelmed with social media and subscriptions, etc. And why is that? What do all of these things have in common? The answer is very simple: ownership. Owning your music, owning your games, and lastly, since this is an art channel, owning your art. If you're new here, hi, I'm Hallie. I'm an illustrator focused on character design, and this is my art channel. It is time to dive into this topic, which is more of an inner train of thoughts I had during the holidays. But first, let me show you what I've been working on lately. And today's video is again supported by Printful, the print-on-demand service that is helping me build my art shop. Today I am working on a new tote bag design because I plan to have 2 in the shop and on a mouse mat with cats, as I mentioned on my previous video. This time I wanted to bring back this illustration of mine to have something cute and kinda botanical, and I am creating a design with it. But on Printful you can find so much more, not only accessories and home design products, but also apparel, so t-shirts, hats, even backpacks, and everything is completely customizable with your art, so you can really come up with designs curated for specific products. They have an easy-to-use interface to customize each item, so you can move your design around how you please. And then you can save it, connect it to your shop in a couple clicks, and adjust the name and the settings, and that's it. Once an order arrives, they will take care of printing and shipping to your customers. I already ordered a couple samples, and I will order more soon once I make up my mind on what design I like the most, but from the ones I already received, I can tell you that the quality of the print is fantastic. I have a very high standard for this stuff, especially when it comes to my art, and so far the standard has been totally met. Another thing I like of a print-on-demand service like Printful is the zero waste. Nothing will be printed unless you order the products, so this means that each item is carefully crafted and then sent off to your customers. If you want to try it, you can find the link below as always, and thank you so much to Printful again for believing in my art and supporting my channel. I always like to call myself a digital artist because this is what I do mostly. But at the end of the day, what am I? Shouldn't I just call myself an artist? This won't be a video against digital art because I love digital art and I do it as a living. It is one of my favorite things. But lately, my illustrations have taken a different path that I am loving, and I want to share that with you more in depth. And to add to that, with the advent of AI-generated images, digital art has taken kind of a weird turn, in a sense that people don't know what is real and what is fake anymore. And this is a problem we all deal with on a daily basis, but this video isn't about AI either. Not today at least. The point of this video is that this, and especially this, represent ownership. That is also why I like to print all my digital pieces. I like to feel them in my hands. So I wanted to try something that I've never tried before that could merge both the traditional and the digital world. During November and December, I was feeling very burnt out and I needed to look at my art with different eyes. I needed to start fresh. And as you've probably seen on my channel, I already posted some full process videos where I colored a traditional sketch digitally. But it isn't just a matter of aesthetic, the reason why I started to make art in this particular mixed media way. But I'll leave the word to voiceover Hallie now so I can talk while drawing. Hello, welcome to my sketchbook. The main protagonist of today's topic, which is traditional art and the meaning of keeping it alive. I like to call it quote-unquote going analog. It is kind of a wish I have for myself this year, dedicating more to traditional art and making a part of my process traditional. For you to understand what I mean, we need to circle back to the start. Everyone started in drawing and making art. I'm pretty positive that in 95% of the cases, people start drawing as children with paper and pencils, and that is when we build our base knowledge. That is why I always suggest to learn how to draw traditionally first. In my opinion, it is important to experience the paper and pencil feeling before going digital. And while today we are surrounded by screens, which, don't get me wrong, I love technology, but since making art is my job, not gonna lie, my eyes have been craving a break. And not from the art itself, but from the screen. That's why keeping alive the traditional tools and ways of making art is so important. it because it balances us out, or at least a part of the process, like I do with my mixed media illustrations, but also with everything else I mentioned before, music, games, etc. The way we learn makes a difference in how we approach art in general, because sometimes, especially if you're new in making art, starting digitally and the digital brushes can fool our vision a little bit and our hand pressure. My advice is to understand hand pressure on paper first and then transfer that knowledge to the screen, because at that point you will know what it should feel like, and going back and forth between paper and digital will be much easier. The other way around, you might feel a little bit lost. You know how I always suggest you to get a sketchbook, a new fresh sketchbook to bring around and throw all your ideas in, away from screens, away from the constant social media stimuli. Well, that is the best way to practice this. And don't worry about keeping it neat and pretty, it's your art and that makes it pretty anyways, even if you think it isn't. You don't have to think of each sketch as a fully completed artwork. Of all the sketches I have in my sketchbook, the majority will never see the light unless I have a brilliant idea or a character I like in my case, and then I elaborate it on a bigger canvas, maybe traditionally or straight to digital. Truth is, as an artist, you can only benefit from sketching on paper, but the idea to try this technique came to me as I was working on a line art with a texture brush that didn't really behave how I wanted. I wanted a sketchy, pencil-like effect, so I was like, why don't I just do it on paper first? It is very silly to think about it now because for some reasons it never really crossed my mind till then, although I had experience of traditional art already, so it wasn't new for me, and in general this technique isn't new. Many artists and professional colorists use it, but I was so in depth into the screen that the thought of reverse engineering it and going back to traditional wasn't on my radar at all. But what was keeping me from it? It was just myself. It was a matter of habit. Trying something new can be scary because you are afraid in a sense of what the result might be. Turns out it was my cure to burnout and art block. In the intro of the video, I talked about the concept of ownership and the difference it makes on how we feel about our art. The way a file makes us feel and the way a physical piece of paper makes us feel are completely opposite. You don't really have that "this is mine" sensation with a file. Or maybe, yes, you do, but it's different. Kinda like having a folder on your PC full of MP3 files. Yes, you own it, but is it like holding a CD in your hand? I hope the analogy makes sense. Coming from a digital artist who sells commissions all the time, I always send my clients high DPI pieces and I always suggest them to print it out and store their files safely too. I know how easily you might forget about a piece you made, especially if it is a commission. You can't remove them from your mind after a while, and I firmly believe that part of the reason is that we keep them as files. We do backups of our PCs, of our iPads, and those files will for sure get lost in your 2 terabytes SSD after a while. I lost so much art when my old hard disk gave up on me. So as I mentioned, a remedy to that is simply printing your art. If you only work digitally, of course. At least you always have a copy that you can put on a physical folder or a portfolio if you wish. It really feels yours that way. Or at least for me it does. Now, of course, I still do fully digital pieces. It's not like I switched my process entirely for every drawing. I still like to sketch digitally, but it is nice to have that alternative. It is nice to get out of your comfort zone and try new creative techniques. See, all of this that I am saying doesn't only apply to art, but to a lot of aspects and elements in your life. And again, I love technology, but I also love books, pencils, and paper, and photography. Photography with a camera. I also try to be careful to what media I consume, and in the case of this channel, the content I create. My intention has always been to build a channel where I share my art, but slowly, where you, who are probably someone that enjoys art or even a fellow artist, can relax while watching, but at the same time give you a thinking point. I found my way out of the quote-unquote brain rot and the art block by implementing traditional art into my process, which I am very happy about. This was my idea. What is yours? Thank you guys so much for watching me ramble about all the things that crossed my mind during this December. I hope you're having a lovely start of the year so far. The time off I took was very needed because I really had to catch up on sleep. I really hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye!